breaking news coming in. Ukraine's president has now said that his country cannot negotiate with Russia in Belarus, considering that the country is being used to attack Ukraine. Remember, these were talks that were initiated between Russia and Ukraine for solving and coming to a consensus. But it seems like Ukraine's president has now stated that his country cannot negotiate with Russia in Belarus, considering the country is being used to attack Ukraine. Zelensky has now rejected a Russian offer for talks in Belarus on Sunday. That's the latest update coming in, that possibly Ukraine might want to find a neutral territory or a neutral space as far as having those talks with Russia is concerned. Priyanka.
Well, definitely, Richa. And, we had been talking about earlier how there is a visual proof of everything that's happening on the ground. And we had accessed several videos where we had seen that there was movement of artillery and movement of troops from Belarus towards Ukraine. And that was also an undeniable video that really told us that there is some role that Belarus is also playing. And now we see an overall geopolitical development on those ground situation, where now the president himself has stated that Ukraine in fact cannot negotiate with Russia in Belarus, considering that the country is being used to attack Ukraine, clearly claiming that this is not something, there is no level of trust in fact in Belarus, because we have seen the troop movement from Belarus towards Ukraine. And of course, looking at the geographical situation, geographical location of the place as well,
right.
It becomes, that is something that the president has claimed, that they cannot be using, in fact, taking help of Belarus as well.
Yes. In fact, Priyanka, let me also now quickly go across to Shavan Sen, who's also joining us live and reporting for us from Ukraine. Yes, Shavan, over to you. Please share where you are reporting for us and what's the situation like today.
Well, in fact, Richard, due to the security reasons, we perhaps may not be able to reveal the location of the bunker where we were just a while back, because remember, what has essentially happened right now is the fact that there have been several air raid alerts that have been sounded off in Kiev itself. And now what you see right now from here, a little far away, because we've been asked not to really disclose the area, the bunkers, because remember, that remains one big concern, because across Kiev at this point in time, since late last night, there is an increased activity, and there is a fear that there could be an air alert, or rather an air bombing that could take place. We have seen reports that have come in from cities like Kharkiv, which have been constantly been bombarded, artillery fire that has been taking place, and that is the reason why people now are completely taking the help of these bunkers that have been created, or temporary shelters that have been created in the area. One big difficulty, if I may tell you, Richa, for many people who are taking refuge in these air shelters is that there is absolutely no connectivity. Connectivity remains a major concern. So the scenes that we saw inside, we were prohibited from filming it, but the scenes that we have seen, let me try and describe that. In fact, I'll also ask Mridul to also come in and describe that for our viewers. Let me first do it. What we saw is late last night, multiple times there were sirens that were sounded off. At least I can tell you, as a crew, we entered the air shelter, which is a little far away from where we were living. We had to actually rush towards these bunkers, primarily because at least on 3 to 4 occasions through the night till about 4 o'clock in the morning, there were multiple air raid alerts that were basically sounded off, and because of which people had to basically go inside these air shelters. Now, whether these are bomb-proof, we are not very sure about it, because apart from these temporary shelters, you have metro stations that have also been converted into some sort of a shelter, some sort of a protection for the people of Kiev. Now, let me just also tell you some reports that we have got from the northern side of Ukraine, where there has been an intense gun battle that has taken place. In Kiev itself, there were 2 explosions that took place around 1 o'clock in the morning. This was basically coming in from the southwest direction, is what I'm being told. This is 20 kilometers from the city center where the first explosion took place. Another explosion, we're being told, is somewhere closer to one of the major airports of Kiev. So the intense gun battle that has basically currently taking place in and around Kiev, there is a major pushback. There is a major pushback on the part of the Ukrainian forces at this point in time. Let me bring in Mridul. Mridul, ये जो इलाका है, इस इलाके को थोड़े हमारे दर्शकों को बताइए कि हमने क्या क्या देखा, क्योंकि करीबन लगातार हम जो देख रहे हैं कि इस पूरे ऐसे कई सारे इलाके हैं जहां पे हमने देखा करीबन 20 से 25 ऐसे शेल्टर्स बन चुके हैं.
Absolutely, there are 20 and 25 shelters are in the middle of the Kiev, and I have to tell about the story of yesterday. Thrice we have rushed towards this shelter. There are air sirens sounded, and just we rushed into them. There are 3 or 4. Bilkul.
A temporary kind of a makeshift area that you see. So these, let me also tell the viewers, these are not something which looks like deliberately created beforehand, because they were really expecting some sort of an invasion to take place. So, in some ways, some of the measures that have been taken by the Ukrainian government is more as an ad hoc basis, primarily to ensure the safety of the citizens here. Now, let's also tell our viewers that how things have basically changed over the last 48 hours. You are looking at a number of Ukrainian citizens leaving the country. The estimate that has been drawn up by the United Nations is about 150,000. But there is another story to it. One, that you would find a lot of people reaching the borders of Poland. Poland has opened up their borders, Hungary being the other nation which is opening up their borders for the Ukrainian citizens. But what's very interesting is that how the people of Ukraine have also supported their government. You've had men between the age of 18 and 60 now returning to the country, taking up arms. The number that we have got from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is that about 25,000 ammunition has already been provided. This has been provided to the Ukrainian citizens so that they can also wage this war, they can participate in this war and ensure that their country essentially emerges victorious. Now, as far as the Russians are concerned, Russians on the one hand, they've been saying that these missile attacks that have taken place, the targeted attacks that we have seen in the last 48 hours, especially in the residential areas, they are saying that this was not conducted by them. If you simply go by their claim, they are saying that the air defense system of the Ukrainian army has gone awry. That's why some of these missiles have struck their own buildings, which the Ukrainians have already rejected. Let me also give you one more quick update with regards to the Ukrainian president himself. The Ukrainian president, from time to time, he's been interacting with their citizens. There are videos that have emerged where he's been out on the street unshaven, which gives you the sense that he's still willing to fight the battle for his country. Multiple offers being made for his evacuation, but that has also been rejected.